All right. Hello, everybody. KV Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with you. And unfortunately, we're once again tracking flash flooding going on across the hill country right now. So on the screen, you can see this new flash flood warning. This has been issued for Gillespie and Llano counties until 10 p.m. this evening. A brand new batch of just slow moving torrential rain has developed, and some of these very same areas have already had 5 to 10 inches plus of rain over the past several days before this developed, and this is just not a spot where we need there to be any additional heavy rain, but unfortunately that is what we are tracking for you right now. Let me get everything set up here on my end so we're good to go. Looks like audio is ready. So here it is. Again, you can see on the radar. Before we go in and dissect this, I want to give you just kind of a big picture view of what's going on across the KVU area. This is the only flash flood warning right now. There's nothing going on in the Austin metro, and as we animate this, I think this is where the flood risk is going to continue as we go through this evening. I think this is mainly going to be across the hill country and nearly stationary downpours. Again, the areas that are seeing it now, I think are going to continue to be the focal point for the flash flood risk here. Okay, so back into our flash flood warning. Enchanted Rock, this includes you, and then it goes down to Doss. So we'll just kind of zoom in along this. Here's the Highway 87 corridor from Doss, the 87 corridor into Enchanted Rock. This goes down to about Eckert, then into the Sandy Creek area, southern Llano County. We're talking about this on the show. I know Big Sandy Creek in Travis County had really bad flooding a couple of days ago. This is separate, so it's not Big Sandy Creek. This is Sandy Creek, which goes through southern Llano County. Then this goes up to about the Kingsland area. Then outside of that, there is rain out towards Llano in the Castell area, more northern sections of Mason County, but that is not where the flood risk is taking place right now. Okay, so here are the new radar estimated totals here. You can see anywhere in green is at least an inch of rain, and unfortunately now we're starting to see these more yellow colors show up. So let me cue up some of these numbers. 3.7, there's a 3.2, some of these getting up over 4 inches of rain. 3.6, you get the idea. We've got 1 to 4 inches of rain that has already fallen in many of these spots, and then some of these higher totals go into more northern sections of Llano County as well. So we'll just cue up some more of these as well. That's along the Llano River. 2 to 3 inches of rain has fallen. So this is locally heavy rain that has developed over some of these same areas that have experienced flooding over the past couple of days. So one of the things I want to do, we'll show you this radar real quick. We obviously need to keep a very close eye on the creeks and streams, and we'll watch the Llano River, but this is mainly like south of the river right now, and the river it was in major flood stage back on Friday, crested well into major flood stage. The river is not in flood stage now. Those floodwaters have receded, but let me show you this. We'll go over to the LCRA Hydromet. So this data is all from the Hydromet. This is courtesy of the Lower Colorado River Authority. And these are the rainfall totals over the past 24 hours. So let me show you some of these numbers here. You can see one of these are confirmed gauges. This is 3.65 inches of rain that has fallen. And look at that rate. So in the past hour, you see that? 3 inches of rain just in the past hour. Let me refresh this, by the way, just to make sure we've got the most updated info. So now we're looking at the stream flow here, and this is going to be what we watch very closely. So I showed you this on our other map, but this is Sandy Creek, and then you can see all those smaller creeks that feed into it. So the highest gauge right now is this one, Sandy Creek at Highway 71 near Kingsland. The action stage, that's not flood stage, that's just like, hey, we're getting closer. We're at that right now, but there's not been any rise yet as this heavy rain has fallen. But these creeks here, Sandy Creek, and then these the smaller creeks and tributaries that feed into it, Big Branch, Coal Creek, Legion Creek, Crabapple Creek. I think these are going to be spots to watch here. And we'll do it here on the stream to watch closely to make sure none of those start to rapidly rise again. Then as far as the Llano River is concerned, so this is a look at the Llano River at Llano. Again, it had a massive crest several days ago. That was, at like 26 feet. But now the river is much lower. Action stage and flood stage begins at 10 feet. And right now it's below 5 feet. So we don't have any imminent, flooding concern on these certainly on the Llano River, but I think Sandy Creek is going to be one of those spots that we need to watch, because this is where a lot of that heavy rain is falling now. Again, just to show you, this is just over the past hour. In 1 hour, this gauge, this shows you the rainfall rate, 3 inches plus of rain per hour. This gauge received that there. And these numbers are going to continue to update. So here's another one in Mason County that got 2.04 over the past hour. And then when you go over the past 24 hours, these are the totals. Another one of these has over 2 inches of rain. That's the Little Llano River near Llano. So that is the situation there on the LCRA Hydromet. We'll continue to watch those stream flow numbers very carefully for you. But here's another look at just the plain old radar right now, where we have a new flash flood warning, which has been issued for parts of northern Gillespie and Llano counties. We just have this slow moving torrential rain, and then some new rain starting to take shape down closer to Fredericksburg in Gillespie County. As far as the metro is concerned, again, guys, there's nothing going on in the metro. Then you get back into some rain here down along the I-10 corridor, but that's about it. These are the LCRA totals over the past 24 hours. So earlier today, we had some heavy downpours that did pop up over Austin, where I live, down along South Lamar. We got some pretty good rain. So, hey, we were hoping we could keep this rain, along and east of I-35 into places that are not as saturated and can take a little bit more rain. Unfortunately, what we've seen happen this evening, again, is that here across the hill country, areas that have already experienced big flooding, these spots are now unfortunately seeing those numbers pop up. This is just another way to look at the LCRA 24-hour totals, and again, you can see these gauges quickly are rising there across the hill country as far as the amount of rain. I want to show you a few other things. So as far as the flood risk, this is what we have from the Weather Prediction Center, the excessive rainfall risk. It's a level 1. So obviously we do have a flash flood warning in effect now. I do not expect the same type of major, once in a generation type flooding like what we saw a couple days ago. But given we have recovery and cleanup and very saturated soils and all of that going on across the hill country, we just need to be super sensitive even to minor flooding. And again, these were flood advisories earlier. They unfortunately now have been upgraded to these flash flood warnings. I want to read you what the National Weather Service was saying with this flash flood warning. So let me go in here and we'll punch that up. So here is the latest from the National Weather Service. They said at 6:21, so this is when they issued the warning back like 25 minutes ago. Radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 1 and 3 inches of rain has already fallen. Expected rainfall rate is 1 to 3 inches in 1 hour. So 1 to 3 inches of rain per hour. We have that confirmed from the gauges that I just showed you. Additional rainfall amounts up to 2 inches are possible. So we could have some areas when all is said and done here that maybe are looking at like 5 to 6 inches of rainfall on top of that much or more that's happened over the past couple of days. Some locations that will experience flash flooding include potentially Kingsland, Gainesville, Enchanted Rock State Natural Area, Prairie Mountain, Crabapple, Oxford, Eckert, Cherry Spring, and Doss. Again, this is a flash flood warning. We do not have any creeks or streams or rivers that have any river flood warnings. We are watching Sandy Creek very closely. I've been watching those LCRA gauges. They have not jumped up just yet, but based on where this heavy rain is falling, that is going to be a spot to watch. And then if we get stuff that develops down farther into Gillespie County, we'll need to keep an eye on the Pedernales and North Grape Creek, and those will be some of in Cypress Creek, and those will be some of the creeks and streams and tributaries to watch. Again, as far as the Llano River is concerned, it crested well into major flood stage several days ago, but it is now down like below 5 feet right now. So we do not have any sort of imminent concern right now on the Llano River. Again, Sandy Creek is the one that I want to watch. That's a creek that eventually feeds into Lake LBJ, but that runs through southern sections of Llano County. Let's real quickly go into some of the forecast data here, and I'll show you the latest run of our high-res model, and we'll see if it has caught on, and it's not. The idea, though, is that as we go over the next couple of hours into 10 or 11 o'clock, the flood potential is going to trend down in that, we're going to have this flood threat between now and 10 or 11 o'clock. And then after that, the rest of the overnight will be primarily dry. And the forecast tomorrow actually looks a lot better. The rain chance is down to just 10% tomorrow. We're not done with rain chances, but tomorrow is looking primarily dry. As we go into Friday, a 20% rain chance, a high of 93. Then Saturday and Sunday, these are still just scattered shower and storm chances in a different world where we hadn't had what's happened over the past couple of days. That wouldn't be a huge deal, but again, we're just trying to be really sensitive. Even if it's just heavy downpours and low in flooding, that still can be problematic with the recovery and the cleanup going on across the hill country. So Saturday and Sunday, scattered showers and storms. Some of those could produce locally heavy downpours of 1 to 3 inches, and then that's looking a lot better for the first half of next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, rain chances down to basically 0, and highs will be in the mid-90s. And hey, how about that? I know we had those 2 triple-digit days back in May, went through all of June, no triple-digit days, and then this 7-day forecast would take us into mid-July with no triple-digit days. And then before I get you back to the radar, just a few other updates for you. Here's an update on our monthly rainfall totals, factoring in some of what's fallen today. So Camp Mabry picked up a little bit more today, 5.46 inches of rain for Austin Camp Mabry, 2.41 inches of rain for the Austin airport. I was looking at the numbers for Camp Mabry. Obviously, July is not on average a very wet month for us. This one has been very different, but even if we saw no rain for the rest of the month, I think this would be like a top 20 wettest July on record for Austin. And then another update before we get back to the radar. So these are the lake levels right now. Lake Travis, as you can see, is at 68% full. It has risen a whopping 22 feet over the past 7 days as a result of those flood waters coming in. A lot of that from the Llano River, which was passed into Lake LBJ, then Lake Marble Falls, and then into Lake Travis. And then when we had the flash flood emergency, Cow Creek, Big Sandy Creek, Hamilton Creek, a lot of those creeks had a tremendous amount of water that went into them, and that went into Lake Travis as well. So Lake Travis, with the current elevation right now at 659, it is still about 7.5 feet under the July historical average. And then full pool for Lake Travis is about 680. So we're like 20 feet under full pool. And then don't forget, Lake Travis also has a flood pool that adds another 33 feet. That takes it to 714 feet, would be like, I guess, the max amount of elevation that it could hold. So even with this 20-foot rise, that just shows you how low Lake Travis was. I think it was at 45% full before all of this, and now it's at 68%. Lake Buchanan is now at 83%. It has risen like just over 10 feet over the past 7 days. And for the first time in a very long time, I need to go back and look this up, but Lake Buchanan is actually over the historical July average. Full pool for Lake Buchanan is 1020. So it's about 7 feet below full pool still with the rise that it has seen. Okay, back into the radar now. And here's, I'm going to go grab my water bottle real quick just so I have that. But you can see our flash flood warning, and this is the reason we are on with you. This is over the Enchanted Rock area, really, really heavy rain. We've got pockets already of 2 to 4 inches of rain here, and clearly the heavy rain is still falling. I am encouraged, though, just to see this does appear to be moving a little bit. You see how it's kind of spreading slightly farther to the east and southeast. Hopefully that happens where this rain either weakens or it starts to move into different areas and we don't get just that training of heavy rain that we have seen so much of over the past couple of days. Okay, just got an update here as I'm watching these LCRA gauges. So let me show you that. So we're back over to the LCRA hydromet. And this gauge here, Sandy Creek near Willow City, so the stream flow has, you can see it's started to tick up a little bit. It's not like what it was obviously back a couple of days ago, but we'll have to keep an eye on these numbers. Again, this is where the heavy rain is falling. Here's the rain over the past 24 hours. So back here, this is in the Hickory Creek watershed here and not in the Sandy Creek watershed. So I guess that's good news. These totals have been a little bit more manageable in the immediate Sandy Creek watershed, but out around Prairie Mountain, this could be going into Hickory Creek, so that actually would send a little bit more water into the Llano River, which again is below flood stage. But Hickory Creek, Bullard Creek, these areas have gotten some heavy rain, and then down towards Cherry Spring. Again, guys, these are just the LCRA gauges out here and the rainfall totals that they have seen. Stream flow, again, nothing urgent popping off the screen. Like, we still have a little bit of water going through the Llano River, but the Llano River, which went way into major flood stage, as we talked about, was at like 26 feet back on July 4th. In that, a lot of that came from the flood waters from Mason County and areas back to the west, and stuff that fell in Llano County. Now we're down like beneath 5 feet, so not an imminent concern there, but just, stuff that we're watching, given what has happened here over the past little while. Okay, back over to the radar. If you are tuning in from Austin, there is no rain right now in Austin. Only one flash flood warning. And again, this is not the same kind of like huge organized, major flood thing like what we were watching a couple days ago. This is just a slow moving cluster of storms, which is set up shop over areas that don't need more rain, but no rain in the metro. There was some heavier rain earlier along the coastal plains areas southeast of Austin, and you can see that now is dissipating too. So the only problem right now is this stuff out here in the hill country. Let's do more of a radar tour, and we'll zoom in. So here's Lake LBJ in the Marble Falls area in Granite Shoals. So the rain is you're not included in the flash flood warning, but the rain has kind of reached out now on the north shore of Lake LBJ into the Kingsland area. And as you go up towards Lake Buchanan, Buchanan Dam, north shore of the lake up towards Bluffton and Tau, rain is expanding towards you, Stoles, Llano. This is just lighter rain, so not a flood situation there, but it's raining. Then this is where you get into the heavier stuff here along the 71 corridor, and then going down towards Highway 16 and the Enchanted Rock area. Just pouring rain. So if you're watching in Enchanted Rock, let me know what's going on right now. But you can see pouring rain there in the Enchanted Rock area. Then as you go Eckert down towards the Stonewall area and into the vicinity of Fredericksburg, that is also where we have heavy rain, which is spreading outside of the flash flood warning area. Let's go back into the radar estimated accumulations. You can see where these have, now we're getting into the yellows. This one's probably going to be over 4. You have some areas of 2 to like 5 inches of rain now over southern Llano County into Mason County, and now these are spreading into Gillespie County. Now I want to show you something, and this is going to be something that we talk about tomorrow. So this is the drought monitor from last week, before any of this stuff started to happen. So that dark like maroon color, that is exceptional drought. And then, so that went into Gillespie County, and then that red, that's the second highest level, extreme drought. Then you go to severe drought, which was into the Austin metro, and then moderate and just abnormally dry conditions. This has already been improving significantly over the past couple of weeks, and I think we're going to see a total eradication of drought over many areas. And it'll be interesting to see, even in this top level exceptional drought area. Obviously, we know about what happened in Kerrville and the Kerr County and Hunt and along the Guadalupe River. This is going to be a massive change tomorrow. So we'll get that update. I think that comes in around like 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning. So KC will have that for you. But just wanted to show you that, the situation with the drought monitor. All right, so we're back into the radar now. Again, we're on and we're just watching the stuff across the hill country. This flash flood warning goes until 10 p.m. So there's another 3 hours on this warning. And I don't know, we'll see obviously if we have life-threatening flooding that takes place. We're obviously going to be on with you. But it does look like this is finally starting to move. So we'll have the radar stream up, but we might take a couple little breaks here just to take a little bit of a breather. But I'm happy to see that a little bit of this heavy rain is starting to expand eastward. Again, I don't want flooding in other areas either, but we just don't want this to sit and park over these same spots like what we've seen over the past couple of days. Want this to dissipate or at least move into other areas so we're not getting training heavy rain. So now some of this could eventually spread into parts of northern Blanco County and then also southern sections of Burnett County. As far as views of this with our Skycam network, so here's Zach Theater, obviously downtown Austin. It's completely dry. The best shot that we have is going to be probably our tower cam, and you're just not going to be able to, this is too far away. And the way that it's positioned west is the hardest direction to see here. We get blocked by the tower, but we'll pan back in the western direction. There you can see Lake Austin, which snakes through on the bottom of the screen. Another view that we can try here, we'll do Kalahari, and then we'll start looking back west from there too. So here is our Kalahari cam. Cloudy, but no rain at all in Round Rock right now. Of course, in Williamson County, we know we're tracking the big flooding on the South Fork of the San Gabriel River back a couple of days ago. Now, as we look back west, we're just going to see cloudy skies, and we're just not going to have, we do, unfortunately do not have any vantage points of this out across the hill country. And we appreciate everybody obviously watching us here on KView Plus, and then also the YouTube chat. We do not have comments turned on right now, but if you have a report or a question or anything, honestly, the easiest way is just to let me know on X. I'm Hunt_WX there, or you can probably just search my name. You can send me a message or tweet at me or whatever if you have any questions or reports or anything that you'd like to pass along. Again, I think Enchanted Rock is probably the main, more populated area now, and then also stretching down to Fredericksburg currently, where we've got some of this heavy rain. I'm going through these reports now, and I'll look at X and on Facebook and everything. I'm not getting anything coming in, and then we'll also check in real quick with the National Weather Service chat. Make sure there's no updates from them as far as what they are seeing. We are watching the LCRA gauges. We're watching Sandy Creek, we're watching Honey Creek, we're watching North Grape Creek, and we're watching the Llano River, and we've got no blinking red lights right now. So again, we've got a lot of rain that's fallen. We need to watch it closely. I'm sure we've got some low water crossings and some flood-prone spots that are having issues right now, so we need to be mindful of that. But as far as stuff on the magnitude of what we've been dealing with the past couple of days, we are not seeing issues like that. So the last update for the National Weather Service chat, this was just back at like 6:20, 40 minutes ago, and they updated that. There was a flash flood advisory. That's the step down below. It's like the strong storm advisory, and we're tracking severe weather. And they were just saying, hey, we're going to upgrade the southeastern part of Llano County and northern part of Gillespie County to a flash flood warning until 10 p.m. So that is the latest update from them. Okay, so we'll go back in on the radar. And again, as I said, if we might take a little bit of a break here. We're going to leave the stream up, but we can get you back to just the looping radar as well, and we'll basically do like digital cut-ins over the next couple of hours, and obviously if things ramp up, we'll continue to just go wall-to-wall coverage here on KView Plus. But the heavy rain is expanding southeastward. So more areas are going to get into some heavy rain, but as I mentioned, what we don't want is this just training, parked heavy rain like what we've seen. So now from Eckert down Highway 16 towards Fredericksburg, this is where heavy rain is expanding between Morris Ranch and Kane City. This is along the Pedernales River. The heaviest stuff now is, from Willow City into southern sections of Llano County. Then we do have some rain, which is reaching out closer to Lake LBJ, which you see here, Horseshoe Bend, Granite Shoals, but that is not bringing a flood risk right now. Really, it kind of starts at Kingsland, then going down to Enchanted Rock. That's where the flood risk ramps up. And then here around Lake Buchanan, which, as we mentioned, has risen like 10 feet in the past week. We do have some more rain, which is falling here around Buchanan Dam and Bluffton up towards the Taos area on the north shore of Lake Buchanan. Earlier, there was also a flash flood warning here around Brady. Let me show you the radar estimated totals there. So this is in the San Saba River watershed, and we do still have a decent bit of water, which is coming in through the San Saba River, which eventually that water dumps into Lake Buchanan. So here, quick, I'll show you that on the LCRA hydromet. Still the stream flow here. Over 8,000 cubic feet per second of water, which is going through there. So the San Saba dumps into, at this point, it's just the Colorado River before it dumps into Lake Buchanan. So that water then, so it goes through San Saba and then goes down through the Colorado and it dumps into Lake Buchanan. And again, just looking at the lake levels here, just to show you the extent of this rise, you can see it's just crazy. Before this started, Lake Buchanan was at 1002, 1,002 feet. Then that huge rise, so it was a pretty dramatic rise there, and then it's been kind of a slower rise the past couple of days, but yeah, it's gone up more than 10 feet. And then as we go down here to Lake Travis, you can see that super sharp rise where it was down, look at that, it was at 637, and then that sharp rise as the floodwaters from the Llano River, and then we also had the flash flood emergency. So really, as those, it was two things, as those floodwaters from the Llano were moving in, that is also about the same time when we had, when we had the flash flood emergency over Northwest Travis, where we had Cow Creek and Big Sandy Creek that started to have really big problems, and it was just explosive rise there where it went up like 15 feet real quick, and then it's been a slower rise but still rising some over the past couple of days. And again, just to kind of show you that as we go back to the stream flow, this is where we had just these catastrophic, just devastating impacts here on Big Sandy Creek. Again, you can see it was just astronomical rise. You know, it was at 5 feet and then spiked up to nearly 25 feet, just a wall of water coming down. So that is Big Sandy Creek, and then over here, this is Cow Creek. This is another one of those sensors we're watching, and look at that. Yeah, it was down below 6 feet and then just spikes up to nearly 20 feet. And it was waves of it too. You can see it spiked up, went down, back up. And that was the situation. Again, this is in Northwest Travis. It was Cow Creek and Big Sandy Creek. This is where we had those really catastrophic issues. And then we're also watching Hamilton Creek here in Hamilton Creek was a big problem spot there in Burnett County. But as we look at these stream flows now, again, this Sandy Creek watershed has had some heavy rain, but all these numbers are all in check. And then here, the Hickory Creek watershed, this is where, as we go back over to the 24-hour rainfall totals, we have this gauge in the Hickory Creek watershed, which now has had over 4 inches of rain. And you can see at one point the rainfall rate, the 1 hour rainfall rate was over 3 inches of rain per hour. So this Hickory Creek area eventually goes into the Llano River. But again, we've got plenty of room in the Llano River right now. It's fallen down well below flood stage, but you can see all of these 24-hour rainfall totals, which go again into the Beaver Creek watershed and into northern Gillespie County. These are the updated totals there. Hey, I did just get an update from the National Weather Service, so let me get you back to this and I'll read it to you. Let me get the radar brought in back out and we'll look at our ongoing warning. So this is an update just posted. This is actually from Nick. Llano County emergency managers saying, and sheriff's office saying no problems right now other than some low water crossings which are starting to flood. So no major issues. Again, we've got the usual kind of flooding stuff, but not like the catastrophic stuff that we've been dealing with. And by the way, we can switch over to ATX floods and take a look at some of the low water crossings and everything like that and make sure nothing crazy is happening. Oh, ATX flood, let's see, there we go. Okay, so I'll switch you back over to this. All right, so we're looking at ATX floods, amazing resource. So you can see across our area, we still have 57 low water crossings which are closed, and a lot of this is not from what's happening today. This is from the past couple of days, obviously, but as we go out here into Llano County, I want to look at this here. What is this little icon? either way. You can see where we've got, so these are some of the closures here. High Mesa at Slick Rock Creek. Let's see if I click on one of these. Yeah. So these are just the caution areas, not closed, but are experiencing some high water. So this would make sense based on where the heaviest rain is. So that's going to be Ranch Road 2323 at Hickory Creek, 2323 at Left Hand Creek, 2323 at Bullhead Creek, Bennett Creek, 6 Mile Creek. So all these low water crossings in this area, again, it doesn't look like they're all closed right now, but at least getting some water over them. And as we always say, obviously turn around, don't drown. Does not take a lot of water to wash a vehicle off the roads. Just make sure we are taking that seriously too. Okay, back over to the radar here. This is looking a little bit better now, where the heavy rain is moving southeastward a little bit, and it's still very heavy rain in Enchanted Rock and southern Llano County, but it does look like these rainfall rates are coming down a little bit, which is what we want to happen. Again, we don't just want this heavy rain to sit and park over the same areas for hours and hours and hours. These are the updated radar estimates, though, and again, this has been a lot of rain. This has been a lot of rain here around Enchanted Rock. So we'll punch up some of these numbers for you. Look at that, 4.6, 4.4. So definitely several pockets of 2 to 5 inches of rain. Then these are the LCRA sensors here. I know this is not the most elegant way to look at it, but at least one gauge has confirmed that these radar estimates are pretty in line with what's happening. That one gauge has had over 4 inches of rain there. So it's that corridor where the concern is right now. Basically southeastern Mason, southern Llano into northern Gillespie County, where the heaviest rain has fallen. Let's go back real quick into the forecast again. We're kind of, we're here and we're covering this flash flood situation, and we'll see if they extend any sort of flood advisory maybe into different parts of Gillespie or even into Blanco County as some of this heavy rain is on the move. But we also just kind of want to update you on the bigger picture and the forecast. So let's go through some of the model data. Here is, as we do this, I'll hop back into the box here. I just did get a photo, so we'll check in on that from David, one of our future meteorologists, David Alford, who lives in Llano County. We'll check in with him here in a second. So this is our graph model, and obviously this is not where the placement of rain is, but what we're looking at here is not like, okay, this is exactly what's going to happen. We're looking at the trend, right? And the trend, I think, is going to be we're going to have a couple more hours of heavy rain in the hill country. That's going to continue that flood risk. And then as we get into 9 or 10, it's going to start to wind down some. And then the overnight should be dry, and the rain chance tomorrow is much lower. So that was our high-res graph model. Here is the HER, and again, it's got the placement wrong, but we're looking at the trend, we're looking at the general idea. Obviously, the rain is not over Austin. But as we get into 10, 11 o'clock, if not sooner, hopefully things are winding down. The overnight is quieter, and then tomorrow I've got a rain chance just at 10%. In fact, I'll show you real quick the hourly forecast for tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of low cloud cover in the morning, potentially some patchy fog, especially in the hill country where we have the heavy rain and the moisture right now. Then mostly sunny, a little hotter tomorrow. 94 for the afternoon high. These are going to be the numbers area wide. For your Thursday, low to mid 90s, certainly warm and muggy and all that, but remember it's getting into early to mid July now, and these numbers are a little cooler than what is typical for this time of the year. But we're not going to be done with rain chances, even though tomorrow is going to be mainly dry. These aren't major rain chances, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we get back into rain chances, especially Saturday and Sunday. And it's going to be a situation kind of like what we're dealing with today, where it's hit or miss, and not everybody is going to get heavy rain, but where these heavy downpours form, especially if it's in the hill country and these areas that have been really hard hit, it still could be problematic. So I think at least a low-end localized flooding potential is going to continue into this weekend. These are the rainfall totals off our main 2 computer models here. and neither of them are showing anything too crazy, but again, I think they're not able to resolve some of these more local downpours. So many areas are not going to see flooding at all as we go through the weekend, or even rain at all. But where these little downpours form, I still think they could be a little problematic for us. Then this, just on a different topic, obviously the flooding that we've been dealing with in large part due to like the remnant moisture from Tropical Storm Barry. So it's probably not what anybody wants to talk about right now, but this is the extended week 2 tropical outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. It's like a new product that they're doing. So there's no storm out here just yet. Again, I'm not trying to scare anybody or say there's going to be anything in the Gulf. It's very possible nothing develops. But this is their week 2 outlook from July 16th through July 22nd, which is showing a low chance, but a greater than 20% chance for some sort of tropical formation here in the northern Gulf. Would this be a factor for Texas? Who knows? But again, just kind of pattern recognition, some troughing over the Gulf. It's possible that maybe we're talking about another weak tropical system here as we get into the next week or two. So just want to show you that. Obviously, we will keep you posted. Okay, let's go back to the radar and we'll check in with what David was saying here. Let's see. So he has some photos from Marble Falls area. So he's looking at these distant thunderstorms. No flooding immediately where he is. Good news, but David is tracking that there from around Burnett County and Llano County with the rain down to the south of where he is located. I'm just going back and forth here, looking through all the chats and everything. So here we do have some updated stream flow numbers here coming in on the LCRA hydromet. So this has been one of those gauges that we've been watching. Sandy Creek near Willow City. You can see it started to trend upwards a little bit. So we'll watch that again. There's been a good bit of rain here in this area. So from Enchanted Rock into Crabapple Creek, Legion Creek, Sandy Creek, all these little waterways here. We're going to need to keep an eye on that here over the next little while as this heavy rain has fallen, and it takes a while to kind of work through the system, but we're going to need to keep a close eye on all of that. Then here's another one too. This is Honey Creek. Looks like this one has started to go up a little bit too. Okay, so this will be another one to watch. This is Honey Creek. Let me back out so you can see. There's where this is along 71 is where this sensor is. I guess it goes under 71. So you can see this has jumped up close to 2 feet here over the past little while. So we'll need to watch that too there on Honey Creek, which is another one of these creeks that flows into the Llano River, which goes into Lake LBJ, into Lake Marble Falls, and then eventually down into Lake Travis. Go back just to the 24-hour rainfall totals. And in this Honey Creek watershed, you can see this one gauge has 1.4 inches of rain there. Again, this LCRA site is just such an amazing tool from the Lower Colorado River Authority. It allows you to visualize where all these creeks are, how much rain they've seen, what the stream flow is looking like, and then what the watershed is. So you can see where also in this Sandy Creek watershed where there's been some pockets that have had heavy rain, and then this gauge with the heaviest rain over 4 inches is in the Prairie Mountain area, and that is in the Hickory Creek, Bulldog Creek watersheds there. So we'll be watching that all very closely. Okay, getting back over to the radar here. Let's zoom in now. Again, this is good news. The heaviest of the rain is now moving out of the flash flood warning area. So this should help things hopefully improve here over Llano County. But now where we need to watch things is going to be here between Fredericksburg and Stonewall and the LBJ Ranch area. And then potentially soon into northern Blanco County. So let's see if we have any flood advisories here. So they do have another flood advisory that goes down here for this Willow City, northeast Fredericksburg part of the storm. You can see in the green, anywhere in green is at least an inch of rain. So that little inch plus is reaching down into that flood advisory area. But the totals as of now, not too crazy in that zone. It's up here around Enchanted Rock where we've got these heavier, don't need to zoom in that much. Here around Enchanted Rock where we've got these heavier pockets of rain which have prompted the flash flood warning. Here, let me. Oh, I was doing the off-air version here. Wow, look at that. So that one gauge has gone up over 5 inches of rain. So again, that's a lot of rain here. At last report, there were no major issues across Llano County right now, but we were hearing of some low water crossings, which are starting to become a little bit more problematic. And then again, we're keeping an eye on Sandy Creek. We're keeping an eye on Honey Creek, these little creeks and streams that can just be problematic in the hill country, as we've seen so much of over the past several days. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to fill up my water bottle and eat something real quick. Just give me like 5-10 minutes, and I'm going to get you back to Max 3, which is just the looping radar here. I'm going to be right back here shortly. I'm just going to take a quick breather, get situated. We're going to leave you here with the radar and no audio, but I will be back in just a couple of minutes. All right, hello everybody. KV Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here, back with you. Just wanted to give you a quick update, and then I think we'll kind of move off of the continuous coverage and just kind of keep going here with the radar loop because I have some good news, and that is that the heaviest rain has now moved out of the flash flood warning area. So still, this is a flash flood warning for Gillespie and Llano County until 10 p.m. We have gotten word of some of the low water crossings, which have gotten a little bit problematic there. But this is not the same type of like major flooding that we were dealing with back a couple days ago. So kind of more typical flood precautions here where, you know, turn around, don't drown, low water crossing is going to be covered. We do have a couple creeks and streams here that could be rising, and I'll show you that here in a second. But the good news appears to be, for now, and again, we're going to keep watching it, I want you to still be careful here. But the good news is that the heaviest rain is moving, and it's no longer just sitting over the same spots. And this is moving now into more eastern parts of Gillespie County and also into parts of Blanco County. So we do have a new flood advisory here, and I'll show you that. You can see here these thin green lines from Bankersmith to Stonewall into northwestern Blanco County. Remember, this is a step down below a flash flood warning, so they're not going to expand another flash flood warning. They're going to go with this flood advisory. So here's what they're saying. This goes until 10 p.m. Minor flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas, dangerous flows over low water crossings, and water over roadways will be possible. At 7:23, 10 minutes ago, Doppler radar indicated heavy rain due to thunderstorms. This will cause small stream flooding. Up to 2 inches of rain have fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 1 inch are expected over the area that will continue to result in minor flooding. So some areas to watch: Fredericksburg, Stonewall, LBJ State Park, High, Rocky Creek, Albert, Sandy, Blowout, Blumenthal, Lukenbach, Rocky Hill, Kane City, Grapetown, and LBJ National Historical Park. So that is that new flood advisory there. Again, a step down below the flood warning. And then in our actual flood warning here, the rain rates have really gone down around the Enchanted Rock area. Mason and Llano County, some light to moderate rain, but again, those areas not seeing flooding. Then we'll keep an eye on this out here towards Junction. So many of these areas are also in that Llano River watershed too. So we can potentially be impacted by this stuff out here to our west too. So we'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, that's looking pretty spotty as you go farther west. Nothing right now across the metro, and then the stuff really has tapered off along the I-10 corridor. So that's the situation. Into the updated radar estimated totals, you start to get into those yellows. Those are, you know, upwards of 4 inches of rain here around the Enchanted Rock area. I'll queue up some of these numbers and I'll take you over to the El Cerre hydromet. 5.5, 5. It's a lot of rain. Again, in addition, you know, 5 to 10 plus that has fallen in these areas. So, I mean, we're looking at like 10 to 15 inches of rain for some of these spots over the past several days. Let me do this. I'll take you over to the El Cerre hydromet. Again, we've been watching this just to show you we do not have any rivers, creeks, or streams that we have gauges on that are experiencing major flooding right now. The main thing that we have been watching is this gauge here, Honey Creek near Kingsland. So I say that this is going to be one to watch. Honey Creek, Kingsland area. This was down around 6 feet, and it's gone up like 3 to 4 feet. So we'll need to watch that there. Again, Honey Creek near Kingsland is on the rise. Here's a closer look at that. This is in that Riley Mountains area, really beautiful part of Llano County. But Honey Creek, that goes into the Llano River here, which eventually snakes around Kingsland, and then south of town goes into Lake LBJ. Then we've been watching these gauges down here along Sandy Creek. So this is Sandy Creek near Willow City, and you can see it's gone up a little bit, but it's not like what had happened a couple days ago. But we'll watch this here. So Sandy Creek, another creek to watch. Then all these Legion Creek, Crabapple, all these smaller tributaries and streams that dump into it. Then Hickory Creek, we don't have any gauges on the creek, but as I go back over to just the rainfall over the past 24 hours, you can see we have a couple of these gauges here, over 4 inches of rain. So Hickory Creek could be problematic as well. That eventually dumps into the Llano River. Real quick, just to show you this. So here are the numbers over the past week. I mean, and again, just look at these numbers now. I mean, it's just remarkable. It's a lot of these areas have had over 10 inches of rain now, including what has fallen today. So tomorrow, we talked about this earlier, we are going to get an update to our drought monitor tomorrow, and I think we're going to see just complete eradication of drought in many areas in the hill country. It's going to be one of the more dramatic drought monitor updates that we've had in a long time. Okay, so that's that. ATX floods, let's see. Let this load for a second. We've got, oh, I was like, wow, that number is going up. We're super, let's go back to closures. There we go. We've got 61 low water crossings that are closed. So I think that did increase a little bit with some of this new activity. Again, it's a little hard to say. Some of this is just lingering impacts from what we've seen the past couple of days, but these are a few of the low water crossings that have the caution indicator. Ranch Road 2323, these are all along Ranch Road 2323. So at Hickory Creek, at Left Hand Creek, at Bullhead Creek, at Bennett Creek, at 6 Mile Creek. So just be really mindful of those. Again, low water crossings, we have heard of some of those becoming a little bit problematic, especially over Llano County. Okay, so one more look at the radar, then I'm going to get you back to just the looping radar again. I'm here, I'm watching it. We will cut into this. We'll say like every 30 minutes or so, and we'll continue to provide updates. The heaviest rain is now moving out of the flash flood warning area. I do not think that this rain is going to make it into Austin tonight. This probably is going to weaken here over Burnett and Blanco counties. Been wrong before. Again, it could hang on later, but really it looks like now we're going to kind of shift this attention into potentially the Round Mountain area in Johnson City area here over the next little while. So heads up there. No flash flood warning for you, but we do have a flood advisory for some of these areas where some more low-end minor flooding, low water crossings, flood-prone streets, that sort of thing where we need to be mindful of. Okay, we'll keep you updated. I'm going to get you back to just the looping radar here. I'm going to turn the mic off for a while, but again, we're here, we're watching it. I'll check in here in the next 30 minutes or so. All right. Hello, everybody. KV Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with you again. So just another quick update here, and this continues to be relatively positive news for Llano and Gillespie County. We still have rain falling in those areas, but the heaviest rain has moved out of those zones. So here's a closer look at the hill country, and I want to kind of point out a few of the things that I'm seeing on radar. So again, there's still rain. Don't get me wrong. Continue your flood precautions here. But the heaviest rain has moved into Gillespie and Blanco counties. Then you see the last couple of frames right here, that little green line that comes out from the heavy rain, it's moving east. That's an outflow boundary. So that is a sign to me that the rain-cooled air is getting pushed out from this storm and that this storm is entering a different life cycle, likely the weakening part of the life cycle. So, you know, we'll give this another couple of hours, but I think as we get beyond 10, 11 o'clock, this activity will continue to wind down. Based on what I'm seeing right now, I do not see there being an additional flash flood warning for other parts of our KVU area tonight. Again, I'll watch it. That's how I'm feeling about this right now. But let's focus in again on our warning. So this warning, it goes until 10 o'clock. Enchanted Rock, Doss, out towards the Kingsland area. Let me show you how much rain has fallen here. Again, guys, this has been a lot of rain, and there's already been a lot of rain across the hill country. So I do think that flooding is ongoing in these parts of Llano and northern Gillespie counties. Just to punch up some of these numbers for you: 4.8, 3.5, 3.5, 4.1. This one's probably going to be over 5. Yeah, 5.5. I mean, we've had another like half foot of rain here over parts of Llano County. It's just been a remarkable pattern that we have been in. What we've been watching, though, I'm going to take you over to this map. So we're back here looking at the LCRA hydromet, the data from the Lower Colorado River Authority, and a few of the creeks and streams that we've been watching here. So first off, Sandy Creek, you can see the stream flow has now gone over 1,000 cubic feet per second. So this is rising. So this over the past 7 days. Let's make this here over the past 12 hours just so you can see that. So before this latest round of rain, it was less than 4 feet. Now it's gone up to about 7 feet. So look, this is not a massive wall of water like what we've seen a lot of over the past couple of days. But this has gone up, so let's be mindful here around Sandy Creek. So that's one of them, Sandy Creek, which, as you can see, funnels into eventually Lake LBJ, which goes into Lake Marble Falls, which goes into Lake Travis. So this does look like some more water, which is heading into the Lake Travis watershed. Then up here, this is Honey Creek, which goes into the Llano River on the west side of Kingsland, and the stream flow here is over 2,700 cubic feet per second. You can see that this was at like 7 feet and has gone up to close to 10 feet. So this has gone up like 2 to 3 feet, but this does look like it's leveled off. So again, we've seen some rise of the creeks and streams here. We have reports in Llano County of low water crossings and stuff that are problematic, but I don't have any indications of major creek, stream, river flooding like what we've seen the past couple of days. Then over here, this is going to be one to watch. There's not a gauge here, but Hickory Creek. This is where, as we go to the 24-hour rainfall, we've got this gauge here, which is in that Hickory Creek watershed, which has had over 4 inches of rain. So that will be one to watch too. Then as you go down here, again, you can just see all the little creeks and streams and watersheds here in northern Gillespie County. Then down here, you get into the North Grape Creek watershed and the Pernaus watershed. Pernaus River did not have the same high impact flooding that the Llano River had, but again, you can see the stream flow. This is all fine. Here, the Llano River, as you can see, action stage and flood stage is 10 feet. It's at like 4 feet right now. So again, not any sort of major imminent concern. Again, we've got some water and it's working through the system, right? Don't get me wrong. These creeks and streams are going to go up. I'm just trying to make sure that we don't have any of the major urgent flooding type problems like what we've seen over the past couple of days. And as of now, I don't have indications of that. We've had some pockets of 3 to 6 inches of rain. The type of rain that caused those big issues a couple of days ago, though, was in excess of 10 inches. It was like 10 to 20 inches of rain. So it hasn't been that much this time, thankfully. But again, flooding is ongoing and is going to continue here for the next little while over parts of southern Llano County into northern Gillespie County, so let's be mindful of that. Otherwise, just the bigger look at the radar. Again, there's nothing happening in the Austin area right now. I think this stuff tonight is all going to be in the hill country, and the heavy rain has spit out that outflow, so I think this is going to weaken over Blanco into parts of Burnett County. So just hang on here for another couple of hours in the hill country. I know the last thing y'all want is any more rain, but we do have some rain falling. We'll continue to deal with the flood threat. And then as we go to overnight tonight, it's going to be mainly dry. And then tomorrow, the forecast looks pretty much completely dry before we get back into some smaller rain chances over the weekend. So that's what we have right now. I'm going to get you back to our looping radar again. I'm here. I'm watching it. We're going to check in every 20, 30 minutes. And if anything changes in a big way, we'll be right here. We'll be right back into our coverage. Y'all stay safe. All right. Hello, everybody. KV Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams here with you. Want to give you an update on where we stand right now. We're actually starting to get some more information from the LCRA about possibly more floodgate operations to pass some of this new flood water down through the system. So we'll get to that here in a second. But as far as the radar is concerned, this activity is really weakening, and that is good news. It is still raining in our flash flood warning area, but it is not heavy with the big rainfall rates like what we had earlier. And then the heaviest of the rain is now weakening over more southeastern portions of Gillespie County into parts of Blanco County. This has kicked an outflow boundary into the Austin Metro, but after the rain that we had earlier in the I-35 corridor, I think the air is stable enough that this outflow boundary, you can see it here, like this little mini cold front. I don't think it's going to be able to spark more stuff in the I-35 corridor. So I think this will be it. This will wind down over the next 1 to 2 hours, and then the overnight's going to be dry. But so the problem now is not that we're going to have more heavy rain in new areas of flooding. The problem is what has already fallen, and this is how much it's been. These are the radar estimated rainfall totals where we have this strip here from southeastern Mason into southern Llano, where we've got pockets of new 5+ inches of rain. So let me just punch up these numbers. Anytime you start to get into those yellows, look at that, 5.6 inches of rain there. This was a lot of rain here, kind of in the general vicinity of Enchanted Rock. Okay, so now let's go back over to our LCRA hydromet. For anybody, if you're watching this, you're probably pretty tuned into the weather, but for anybody new here, the LCRA is the Lower Colorado River Authority, right? They have this amazing network of gauges and sensors across our waterways in the hill country so that we know about the flooding and how much water is coming through the system. So what you're looking at now, this is what we call the stream flow. So this basically tells you how strong the water is flowing through these various sensors. There's several areas I'm watching here. So number one is Honey Creek here, which starts in the Riley Mountains, beautiful part of Llano County, and Honey Creek eventually dumps into the Llano River, which then comes in here at Kingsland and dumps into Lake LBJ. But you can see the stream flow there is now 4,754 cubic feet per second. These are the numbers over the past 12 hours. So you can see it went from basically nothing to then it spiked up. This is what the stage has done. So it was sitting at like 7 feet, and now it's up to about 10 feet. So it's risen like 3 to 4 feet. So it's risen 3 to 4 feet here over the past little while as the flood water has come in. And again, those flood, so we need to be mindful for anything that's close to Honey Creek. This is not like a 20-foot rise like what we've seen the past couple of days, but the creek is rising, so we need to be mindful here. But again, this water is going to pass into the Llano River, which is going to dump it into Lake LBJ. From there, we have Wirtz Dam, which forms Lake LBJ, so they may need to do some floodgate operations to pass that into Lake Marble Falls, and then from Lake Marble Falls, they may need to do floodgate operations to help pass some of that water into Lake Travis. So that's one area, Honey Creek. Then you go down here to Sandy Creek. This is one of those areas that I was mentioning to you like 1 or 2 hours ago. And we didn't see an immediate rise there, but this stuff takes time, right, where it has to work through the system. So here's one gauge. This is Sandy Creek near Willow City, and you can see the stream flow here has also really jumped up. So this was at less than 4 feet and is now up over 8 feet. So again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. This is not like this huge wall of water that we experienced on, for example, the St. Gabriel or the Llano River, or especially on these creeks in northwest Travis County. It's not, as of now, a situation like that. We haven't had that much rain, but the creek is rising. So we need to be mindful here around Sandy Creek. And then similarly, Sandy Creek eventually winds here through southern Llano County, and that goes into Lake LBJ too. So Honey Creek, this flood water, and Sandy Creek, this stuff through different routes, but it's going to end up in Lake LBJ, and from there will be passed down the system. We do not have gauges on Hickory Creek here, but this is an area that has also seen a lot of rain. Again, you can see this is the Hickory Creek watershed, right? And this gauge had 4.24 inches of rain, 3 inches of that fell in 1 hour. So that water presumably will be funneling down Hickory Creek, and then some more heavy rain here too as you go down towards like Cherry Spring. So that water will go into Hickory Creek and will dump into the Llano River. So now as we go back into the stream flow, the Llano River a couple days ago. All right, so we're looking at the past 12 hours. If we go back to the past 7 days, you can see obviously back on July 4th, it crested way into major flood stage at like 27 feet. Since then, it's dropped back down below. But we need, so what I'm saying is that it's not a situation where like, okay, this thing is still really swollen. It's not. The floodwaters have gone back down. It's still flowing more than it has been recently, but it's not like it's at 15 feet and is going to spike back up. It's got a lot of room, but I do think this number is going to go up, and it's even possible that maybe, I don't think we're going to be looking at like major flood stage or anything like that, but could we go into minor action stage? Could we go into minor flood stage here in the Llano River as some of this water works through? I think that could be a possibility. And then speaking of here farther north, we're looking here at the San Fernando Creek near Llano. You can see those stream flow numbers starting to come up some too. So that was sitting at just over 8, and it spiked a little bit here. So again, we've had a lot of rain here over Llano County again, and the soil's been very saturated. So this is just all going to just run off into the system here. Let me take you back to the radar real quick, and I want to, well, actually, let's think about this. So let's go over to this. This is the flood operations report from the LCRA. And what we're looking at here, so this is Wirtz Dam, which forms Lake LBJ. And you can see, as of now, there are no floodgate operations going on at Wirtz Dam. There were, back several days ago, you can see they were discharging at the peak 158,000 cubic feet per second of water through the dam. They had 10 floodgates open. Since that, so that big wall of water that got passed through, then when there's smaller amounts, I believe it needs to be 10,000 cubic feet per second or less, they use hydroelectric generation to pass that water through the system. So basically the water goes into turbines, and the water spins the turbines, it generates hydroelectric power, and then it goes through the dam on the other side. So when it's lower amounts, they can pass it through just through the turbines, through hydroelectric generation, which is why you see the discharge continue just in lower amounts here. But all of that to say, the LCRA did send out a tweet where they said they're worrying, again, these are the professionals, it's not my opinion, they say floodgate operations at Wirtz and Starkey are likely, is what they said in their post. Now, do I think we're going to have 10 floodgates open and passing 150,000 cubic feet per second down again? Probably not, but could we need to, they can do half openings. Is it a half floodgate open? Is it a couple floodgates open? Sounds like that's what they are planning on, according to what they have posted. So that's Wirtz Dam, which again forms Lake LBJ. And then you go down to Starkey Dam, which forms Lake Marble Falls. So the stuff that goes through Starkey Dam goes from Lake Marble Falls into Lake Travis. And similarly, you can see there's a massive spike where they were discharging all that water a couple days ago with all the floodgates open. And then they've been doing just this hydroelectric, which is why we had that rapid increase. And then over the past couple of days, it's been just these, it's been an increase, but a much more gradual as they're passing lower amounts of floodwaters through just hydroelectric generation. But it sounds like maybe floodgate operations will be needed at Wirtz and Starkey, according to the LCRA. And again, just another way to kind of show you how this has gone. If we're looking at Lake Buchanan, which a lot of their water is coming in from the San Saba River watershed. We'll go back over the past 7 days. So you can see, again, that was sitting at 1,002, and now it's up close to 1,014. So that rose more than 10 feet as a result of those floodwaters. And then as you go down here into Lake Travis, this was really just like remarkable. Obviously, there were a number of sources. So there was a low amount of water that came in through the Pedernales River. Not a low, they didn't go to flood stage. There's a lot of water, but they didn't go into major flood stage. But some water came in through the Pedernales. A lot of water came in through the Llano River, which has the route that I just showed you. So the Llano River goes into Lake LBJ, into Lake Marble Falls, into Lake Travis. So that was a lot of inflow. Then at the same time that those floodwaters from the Llano were arriving in Lake Travis, that was Friday night when the flash flood emergency happened over northwest Travis County. So up here, we've got Big Sandy Creek and we have Cow Creek, and then also Hamilton Creek had really bad flooding in Burnett County. This is where, unfortunately, we just had, this was the worst of the devastation, and where people lost their lives here over northwestern Travis County. It was a result of the really rapid, devastating flooding of these creeks here in northwestern Travis County. So that's what gave us this just rapid, you can see in the span of like, several hours, this went up like 15 feet. And then it's been a more gradual rise. Again, they've been passing lower amounts, but still gradual rise as they've been passing that hydroelectric generation. But if we have floodgates open again, obviously that's going to go up with a higher tempo again. But that is the situation right now. Again, as we look at the radar, I don't expect additional pockets of heavy rain to form. I think the heaviest stuff is weakened. I think this outflow coming into Austin is not going to be able to generate more rain because the atmosphere's worked over from the rain earlier today. So now we're in the stage where we're watching the creeks and streams and rivers, which are unfortunately back on the rise here, especially Sandy Creek and Honey Creek. And then we'll watch Hickory Creek. So again, Sandy Creek and Honey Creek, which are going to go into the Llano River or into Lake LBJ, and then Hickory Creek, which connects in Llano, and then we've got the San Fernando Creek. So Llano River rise is expected. Do I expect it to go into major flood stage like what happened? No, but do I expect some rise? Yes. And then we need to be mindful here, Sandy Creek. I apologize, I got the wrong thing shown here. And then we need to be mindful here again, Sandy Creek, Honey Creek, and expect potentially some floodgate operations according to the LCRA at Lake LBJ with Wirtz Dam, and then at Lake Marble Falls with Starkey Dam. So it does look like maybe some more flood waters will be resulting in some bigger increase again in Lake Travis, which has already increased by 22 feet over the past 7 days. So that's what we have right now. Our flood warning goes until 10 p.m. Obviously, we'll be covering this in detail coming up on KVU News at 10. The bottom line right now is if you live around Sandy Creek or Honey Creek or Hickory Creek in Llano County or the San Fernando Creek, creek levels are rising, so we need to be really mindful around our creeks and streams. We do not have any river flood or creek flood warnings right now, but again, just hey, y'all watch it. If you feel the need to go to higher ground, then do so. And then we also have reports of a number of low water crossings and more kind of typical street flooding, urban flooding type stuff across Llano County as well. So it was another round of really heavy rain. We added another 5 inches in spots on top of what has already been 5 to 10 inches of rain. So this has been an incredible stretch over the past couple of days. Y'all stay safe. I'm going to get you back to just the looping radar again. I'm here. I'm watching these numbers on the LCRA Hydromet like a hawk. We're here. We're watching it. Y'all stay safe, and we'll have continued updates here. I'll try to check in here again in the next 20 minutes or sooner if something bigger happens. Y'all stay safe, and I'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, hello everybody. We are about to wrap up the stream and we'll start our newscast here at 10 o'clock, but just wanted to pass along some good news. Almost all of this rain has dissipated here across the hill country, and just got word from the National Weather Service that this flash flood warning will in fact be allowed to expire at 10 o'clock. So that should do it for this evening. I don't expect additional heavy rain to develop overnight, and likewise tomorrow should be pretty much completely dry. We do get back into some rain chances this weekend, but tonight, tomorrow, I don't have any additional flood concerns from more rain that is falling. However, the rain that has fallen has been quite a bit, and now as we go through this evening, it's going to be continue to watch the creeks, streams, and rivers. And we do have some new news on that front, so I'll give you a little sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about coming up at 10 o'clock. So here's a look at the rainfall just over the past 24 hours. So obviously it's been much more than that when you go back the past couple of days, but we've got multiple pockets of 3 to 6 and then more pockets of 1 to 3. So basically right now we have water going through Sandy Creek, which is going directly into Lake LBJ. We have a lot of water going through Hickory Creek, which is going into the Llano River. And we have water going through San Fernando Creek, which is also going to the Llano River. So you can see the flow at Llano. This is still down below flood stage, but that is starting to ramp up a little bit, passing 1,846 cubic feet per second of water down towards Lake LBJ. So speaking of, this is the news we got from the LCRA, the Lower Colorado River Authority. They have now begun floodgate operations at Wirtz Dam, which forms Lake LBJ. So one floodgate is now open at Wirtz Dam. So they are now passing 8,622 cubic feet per second of water into Lake Marble Falls, which is formed by Starkey Dam. The discharge right now at Starkey Dam is all just hydroelectric, but they presumably will open another floodgate at Starkey Dam, and from there that water will pass down into Lake Travis, which now is at 659.45 feet of elevation and remarkably has increased about 22 feet over the past 7 days. This is not going to be another dramatic rise of 15 to 20 feet. This is much less water, fortunately, than what we've been tracking recently. But is this enough for another 1 to 2 feet of rise? I do think that's probably reasonable. So we're going to be talking much more about this coming up on our newscast at 10, but just wanted to kind of close down this stream. We appreciate everybody for watching us here on KVU Plus and YouTube Live and all of our streaming platforms. I will end this and we'll take a quick 13-minute break, and then KVU News at 10 will start right at 10 o'clock. We'll see you then.